All right, so here's our experiment 2. It's somewhat similar to experiment 1, but rather than mixing in 2 waters together, we're going to add cold washers to hot water. I'm going to suggest that you do this one near the sink because you're going to want to dump your cup of ice water out to get the washers out, and try not to make too much of a mess. So it's hard to see in there, but yeah, you can see in the bottom. I have my glass of ice water and I have my washers in there. I'm going to suggest that you put them in and you leave them in there for a little while, a good 15 minutes, half an hour, to make sure that the washers get good and cold. And again, I'm going to want to just stick my cold probe into the bath with the washers, and I'm going to want to stick my hot probe into my water so I know what the various temperatures are. And again, I'm going to hit record as I do this experiment. And so you're going to want to wait till these again equilibrate, kind of come to constant values, and then write down the temperature of the washers, the water, the cold water, and write down the temperature of the hot water. And just for the purposes of kind of moving on, I'm going to go ahead, I dumped the water out from the previous experiments, and now I'm going to add hot water to this like I did before. It's kind of reached a value of 56-ish degrees Celsius. Again, spent a little bit more time doing that, although I'm pretty close there. And again, I'm going to put in a known quantity of hot water, as you're told in the lab. I'm going to put this into my calorimeter. In this case, I'm doing 100 milliliters, but do the value given to you in the lab. And again, measure more carefully than I am. I'm trying to demonstrate. While I get the washers ready, I'm going to go ahead and just stick my hot water in there and put the lids on just to try and keep it from losing too much heat. I'm then going to go ahead and dump the water out and get my washers out of here. Again, this is why I recommend you do it near the sink. I have a little bucket here to help me out. When I have the water out, again, I don't want to handle these too much. I don't want my hand to heat the washers up. So I'm going to do this fairly quickly. I'm going to dump the washers out of the cup, and I am going to add them to the hot water. And as quickly as I can, I'm going to stick the probe into the hot water, making sure that the probe is sitting in the water and not in contact with anything else. And then just like before, I'm going to sit and watch this, in my case, the red line, because that's the probe in the water, until it reaches an equilibrium value. And then I'm going to record that as my final value of temperature. And from that, you're going to be able to determine what the heat capacity of those washers is. And again, that was laid out in the introductory part of this lab. So that's going to be experiment 3. And then the next part of the experiment will be your chance to do this on your own. And that will be to predict what will happen if you only use 10 washers instead of 15 washers, and then to do the experiment and make the measurement. Again, don't forget to save when you're done to show your example data to your professor.